How did the Knights not win?
Huh?
Knights.
Yeah.
Panthers didn't have anyone.
It's true, but he shouldn't say it.
Good evening and welcome to the Joust. My name is Nagy. I'm here once again by the Raging Cajun, Mr. Liam McNeil. Now, Liam, when I joined you a few weeks ago here on this very show, we had a few games coming up. Some with the Newcastle Knights, some with the very own New South Wales Blues, and we were hopeful.
Nagy, that was our mistake. We enjoyed hope. We lived in hope.
Yeah.
We felt hope in our hearts. We thought hope was a natural reaction to being a fan of some good sporting teams who have treated us well in the past, but not for some time, Nagy.
No, and they let us down, Liam.
They let us down, and yet again we were surprised. Maybe that's on us.
It could
Was
be.
it our fault that we were let down?
Surprise is the enemy of hope, I guess you could say. You know, and when you're surprised and disappointed as well, wrapped in a surprise, sort of in a container of hope, and then when it all comes out, you're just very sad. And that's what we found ourselves, very sad.
Just like in A New Hope, when Luke's Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru are incinerated.
Then, yeah, but
That's also very sad.
But luckily, he was adopted by that.
Let's talk about Star Wars and just
Wonderful.
leave
This is
Rugby
a-
League to other
a
podcasts.
complete Star Wars show, everyone. We'll start with A New Hope. We've got to go chronologically. And he was adopted by the lovely wizard man, Alec Guinness,
Yes, the Wizard Man.
who dies about 3 hours after he meets him. But he was very attached.
They were very close friends. He was like
were.
that uncle that you always hear about that you never meet, but he's always there if your parents die.
He just comes in,
Yeah.
just like in Braveheart.
Exactly like in Braveheart.
We're doing a Braveheart show, everyone. It's just going to be completely about Braveheart.
Hello, Jousters. I'm Margaret Pomerantz.
And I'm the David man. And then it's 'cause remember the character Brian Cox plays. He comes in on a horse after his parents have been killed by the British, you see, and he's just like, I'm your uncle and I'm gonna teach you everything. And then apparently you never hear from him again.
Well, you know, a lot of people don't know this, but Brian Cox was in a film called Manhunter, which was actually the original Hannibal Lecter film.
yeah.
Brian Cox plays a phenomenal Hannibal Lecter, only overshadowed, of course, by Sir Anthony's portrayal in the official trilogy many years later.
It's different, but it's gripping.
Yeah. It also has the guy from CSI Miami.
Yeah, but much younger. He's much younger.
And it had this weird Michael Mann, 80s theme to it. Yeah, I love not talking about rugby league.
It's great, isn't it? But back to rugby league. We'll touch on rugby league just for a moment. And it was that we thought State of Origin Game 2. This is really where the series always ends up 1-1. Really, it's just
It's
part,
the script that's usually written.
part and parcel. You know, you're gonna have what a great win. Oh, what a great win from the other team. Really, it's about Game 3. Not this time. We've already lost the series after 2 games. What a shit show.
Now, Nagy, there's something that I have vehemently hated. There is something in rugby league that we've been hearing since the birth of State of Origin itself. It's something that I hate so much that I've fought people over this. I've fought them with fists, with cutlasses, with matchlock pistols. They always say that New South Wales don't get Origin.
Yeah.
I think I believe them.
You think so?
They've finally won me over. You morons from up north of the Tweed.
Yeah.
I think you finally won me over because that's all I can, that's the only thing I can fall back on as to how bad New South Wales have been this year.
Yeah.
I don't think we get Origin.
It didn't look good after Game 1. And I thought, well, they'll learn from their mistakes. They didn't.
No.
And we managed to lose even will we lose even better? Did we get better at losing?
See, sometimes you got to find positivity in the small things,
If we look at
were
the
the best losers.
If we look at that, the score sort of breakdown there, it just went off terribly. They scored after 8 minutes, Queensland that is, and then again in
An illegal try
and then we're only 10-0 down at half time. We thought, here we go,
via a second illegal try.
illegal try, yeah. But
what are the touch judges doing?
they're asleep.
Are they on strike, maybe?
Possibly.
Are they carrying out union action?
I don't know.
They're still there.
They weren't involved.
No, they weren't involved. They're still there. They've got the uniform on. They've got the flag. But anything goes because we're not getting paid enough. Thank you, Peter Volandis.
We thought
Pay the touch judges properly.
potentially where everything started to go wrong, which was
The kickoff.
the kickoff, and then the 80 minutes that followed the kickoff. But it was really the injury to our very own New South Wales Blues, Tom Trbojevic.
Yes, the fourth Trbojevic
the
brother.
fourth Trbojevic brother from, are they Serbian? Serbian, those boys?
Serbian boys, yes, good Serbian boys.
Yeah, and because we always thought that, potentially Tom Trbojevic would find his sort of origin fire again, and he would be off at all cylinders. But no, he did a bit of a roll and tore his pectoral muscle completely off his shoulder.
Which is not a good one to do. I think, remember, Jared Mullen tore a pectoral muscle, and he was never really the same after that.
Mitchell Pearce did it twice.
He did do it 2 times.
Twice.
One on each breast, perhaps.
But yeah, he's lost each breast. It was 2 floating breasts from there on out. But it didn't look good. I thought it might have been a shoulder injury, and I thought maybe it was a stinger, but it was a stinger.
I called it immediately.
Oh, you saw it.
As soon as I saw it, I said, that's a peck. We
that's a
are
peck.
in trouble.
We're done.
And what did Brad Fittler, Galaxy Brain Fittler, they call him?
Of course.
He's playing 4D chess when we're all just playing backgammon. He puts the beach sprinter, the fastest man on earth. They put him in the centres. In the old days, you could do that. You'd say, I got a fast guy. Put him in the centres. Just give him the ball.
Yeah.
That's all you got to do.
all.
Unfortunately, it's not 1973 and we're not playing the Gerringong Lions.
No.
This is State of Origin in 2023. Now, Brad Fittler has often been derided for silliness. He's been noted for doing some left field things. But this one even backflipped on a comment that his own selector, Brandy Alexander, made through the week. I don't know if you just saw that. Through the week, some very insightful journalist, perhaps someone sent back from the future, said, Mr. Brandy Alexander, he said, what happens if an injury happens in the centres? And Brandy said, we'll just put Cameron Murray there.
Cameron Murray, makes sense.
Cameron Murray. A pork chop, apparently, is Cameron Murray.
Pork chop.
A pork chop. They looked at him and they said, no, instead of putting you on at centre, we're going to slap you on the barbie, mate. We're going to put you between some cheap white bread with some tomato sauce on it.
They didn't even use Cameron Murray.
I've never used a pork chop like that. I'm sorry, Joust. Don't eat your pork chops on white bread with tomato sauce.
It would work.
Eat them like a real man, breadless. Have bread on the side.
Breadless.
To sop up the juices.
Would you pick it up with your hand? Or
That's
would you,
the best way to eat a
would you
pork
chop it? See, I would chop the meat away with the knife and fork. And then when you've got the part that you can't really saw away, then you pick it up and sort of gnaw on it.
Gnaw the bone.
See,
I eat bread. I don't know about you now. I love bread. I eat it all the time. Most of my meals are just various types of grilled cheese. And it's from something my father said to me when I was young. I used to eat a lot of toast, and he said, Liam, you can't just eat toast all the time. You can't turn everything into a sandwich. And I said to him, yes, Dad. But then I made it my life's mission to eat bread with every meal. And it's amazing when you go across cuisines, every cuisine right around the world has bread as a core part of its side dish, except Southeast Asian cuisine. You never get a pad thai with, papadum.
No.
You don't get a musselman curry with a slice of Helga's whole grain.
No, of course.
Anything to stop talking about rugby league. But anyway, back to the Damien Cook thing. Now, I think that is the decision that has cost Bradley Fittler his job.
Potentially. We'll be soon to find out. Obviously, in Game 3, they can come back and win one game, and it's a 2-1 series. And when you look at everything, you're like, 2-1, that was there or thereabouts. Doesn't really feel like we're in any position to be winning any games.
It wasn't thereabouts. Yeah. It was no whereabouts.
Who was the players that really stood up out of the Blues for you, Liam? Just so we can cap off this and we can forget about it. We can all move on. There was probably a couple.
Payne Haas.
That
man is a machine. He is some kind of footy player. The things that he does on the field, you don't see it from other players. His power, his motor, his fitness, his endurance. I was reading an interview earlier today with Payne, and he said that growing up, he lived on an acreage, lived on a big property, and it had a fairly steep incline. And his dad used to he said it was like 1 kilometre long. Yeah. And his dad used to take him out there and just make him run up it for hours and hours and hours. And so apparently this fitness has been inbuilt in him from when he was just a bebe.
Sounds like he had a fear.
Yeah.
Meanwhile,
it was a fear.
Meanwhile, you and I were just here eating cheese sandwiches the whole time.
I played a bit of rep footy with a couple of guys from Dorrigo. Now, those who know Dorrigo know that it's a very odd town.
It's an odd name as well.
It's high in the mountains.
I'm trying to place it where the hell it is.
It's just outside Bellingen, home of the man who tore our beautiful nights to strip, Dylan Edwards. It's a beautiful, small, idyllic place in the country, but they're very odd people. Yeah. Proper, country hill people.
Why is it that gets weirder the further you go up the mountain?
It's the altitude.
Of course.
You don't get as much oxygen in your brain. Yeah, but his training technique, he was the fittest guy I'd ever played footy with, and his training technique was that he had a 4-kilometre walk home from the bus.
Yep.
And so he got an old truck tyre and he built a makeshift harness out of rope.
Of course.
And he would just drag the truck tyre home on his walk home for the bus.
I didn't know you played footy with Rocky Balboa.
No, he went upstairs.
He always did tire things
Yeah.
when he was in Russia in the cold.
Well, that's, to this day, maybe the greatest montage of all time, the Rocky IV training montage.
Yeah, of course, because he's just in the snow. And he didn't
Brian Toto,
Brian-
another blues man who could hold his head up high. I thought he was fantastic. He played that role he plays so well as, a fourth prop.
Yeah,
Small man, powerful,
That's what you have to be
striving for greatness.
on the wing now.
Yeah.
What do you think of Mitchell Moses? Yeah.
Ish.
He did okay.
He did okay, which is, it's a shame that in the context of that game, we are, highlighting a player for doing, okay.
Did okay.
He did all right.
But did okay in
Yeah.
the context of that game.
Yeah.
Quite good. And also Mitchell Moses, very, very hateable guy.
Oh, he's a punchable face, isn't he?
Doesn't he?
And like we said last week, or the week before when we did the last episode, he always does this.
This, yeah.
He
Throws
makes
his
this
hands
face,
up.
he throws his hands up. Him and Clint Gutherson, they always swear at their teammates.
Yeah.
But I guess in Origin, you have to show a bit more modesty, a bit more decorum.
We could talk about Origin until the cows come home, Liam.
We'd rather not.
But we got to focus on all the other rugby league news, including
Thank God there is some.
probably some Origin related stuff too. Well, in this segment, let's call the news.
What a juicy news segment this week, huh?
Strap yourselves in and then unstrap yourselves and go about your day.
Unless you're in a car, jousters, do not unstrap yourselves. Because you will get arrested, and we cannot defend you because we are not licensed legal professionals.
Speaking of the, just touching on the Blues once more, we
Oh,
we thought we had escaped it, but now it's come back because the question obviously is when someone's going bad, when are they going to get fired?
Yes, when are they going to get fired? How are they going to get fired? By whom are they going to get fired? And whom are they going to replace them? I'd used whom incorrectly once there.
Yeah.
Just as if you can pick which one I used incorrectly, you will win nothing.
Mail
except
in.
my respect. Now, Brad Fittler, gone. Done. He's dusted. But when you look back at his legacy, he did win 3, he lost 3.
Yep.
In terms of Origin, not a bad tenure.
I saw someone say that they said, well, he's won 3, he's lost 3, and there's
I
only,
said that just then.
yeah, but then other people have pointed that out, and they've said also that and that's only 4 wins of the last 14 years. It's like, hang on a second, that was nothing to do with Brad Fittler.
Yeah.
He's got the 3 out of the 4. We should be hanging on him like grim death. We can't go. I think the example of the fact that we went 8 years without winning any, and then we won 1, and we still lost the next 3.
Now, why would you want to hold on to grim death?
Like-
If I was suffering a grim death, I'd rather release it and live. I don't understand that saying. But who replaces Mr. Grim Death here we have on the screen? Because I have seen 45 names bandied about. None of them particularly good options.
They're all
Who's
shit.
out there?
Yeah. There's none.
Who wants a job? Who's standing at the Centrelink line saying, you know what? I'd look good in a blue polo.
Yeah.
Who?
That's all you have to do. Look
Yeah.
good in a blue
It's all
polo.
the same names. They're trotting out Ricky Stewart. He was there.
He was
Didn't
there.
do a great job. Laurie Daly. He was there. Didn't
Laurie
do a great
Daly
job.
again?
Phil Gould. He was there, but he's now 100 and senile.
Yeah.
He's no good.
He's the same age.
I did laugh when I saw someone suggest Laurie Daly, actually.
Yeah. I just think we got to hold out for Bellamy. Bellamy's,
He
eyeing
went
off-
there.
Yeah,
He
did-
wasn't great.
He wasn't. He even lost that series
Yeah.
in 2010, 3-0, I
Yeah.
believe. Yeah.
Although, to be fair, that was a young Craig Bellamy. He's now very, very old Craig Bellamy.
wiser, like the old wizard, and potentially the young Jedi in Billy Slater could be coming up against his old master. And now that's a story for the Telegraph. If I have never seen one, if I've ever seen one,
If you have ever,
yeah.
and maybe you have never.
So
But
what-
yeah, look,
what-
there's 45 people who they've nominated. I don't think any of them particularly good. Madge Maguire was bandied about.
Oh,
Some
Christ.
people suggest Matthew Johns.
Why?
He has 400 television shows. He's too busy.
He's too busy.
He's getting paid $1 billion a year by Fox Sports.
Can't do it.
Those Rupert Murdoch shills.
Shills.
Yeah, they won't let him go.
No.
Someone suggested Andrew Johns, which I don't understand. People
Oh, of course. We had this from what I assume was from Mr. Philip Rothfield, but it might have been from his
Paul
other
Crawley.
Paul Crawley, who's got a face like a catcher's mitt.
Well, he's nothing. And you don't see this because on the shows that he's on, you only see him from the table up.
Yeah.
Phil Buzz Rothfield, he's actually
Buzz
got his
Rothfield.
hand up his arse.
Hand up Crawley's
He uses
arse.
him like a puppet.
Like Happy Harold.
Healthy Harold.
Healthy Harold.
So I was going to say Buzz Rothfield's like Jim Henson, but that's a terrible insult to Jim Henson, who was a wonderful creative man.
He said they got to get rid of the boombox culture. Now, is that an ethnic slur?
I think it might be, what do they call it? A dog whistle. I think it's a
whistle?
dog whistle because if you ask Paul Crawley, you say, "Oh, Paul, who uses boomboxes?" He wouldn't specifically say, but he'd go, oh, yeah, you know the type.
You know the
Oh, you
type.
know the type.
Yeah.
And he would quietly assume that you also are racist.
Yeah.
So, yes. So, I think Paul Crawley is referring to a certain type of person when he refers to boombox culture.
Boombox culture.
But Phil Rothfield won't let him say it.
No.
Paul Crawley is about to say a word that starts with a letter, and Phil just goes,
But
shut up.
Shut up.
Shut up, Paul.
I just thought it's very typical Telegraph things to be say, oh, I know how to fix this, and it's we just need an overhaul and get all the players that I want in and get all the players that I don't like out.
You know what we do need to fix? The boomer box culture where these 80-year-old idiots are given microphones and these Rupert Murdoch, these shills, they say a bunch of dumb stuff that old people say. How's
They
that?
are old and they are dumb.
They're getting paid in Werther's originals. Idiots. Just corporate sellouts.
Surprise, Liam! Surprise, Liam!
Yes, I love them.
Luke Brooks. You thought, where's he going to go? What's he going to do? He said no to the Tigers deal, and we thought, that's surprising. Even more surprising, Anthony Seibold. He went off to market with a full purse, full of cash, and said, I'll take one Luke Brooks, please.
Which is funny because not long ago he also had the same bag full of cash. I was going to say
Yeah.
box or bag. I said bog.
Yeah.
Same box full of cash, and he said, "Oh, and we're going to go in on Josh Schuster.
Schuster.
Let's go all in on Josh Schuster. Now they've got Luke Brooks. Let's go all in on Luke Brooks.
Yeah, and
Now,
Josh Schuster as well.
It's too many people to go all in on.
Yeah.
Because where do you put Josh Schuster? He's the slowest man on earth.
Well,
He
it's-
doesn't like to look where he passes.
Yeah.
Luke Brooks is a bit of a running man, but he doesn't like to pass where he's looking. In fact, he often looks at a player and throws it to the ground.
Are they trying to moneyball between those two players? And they're trying to get the perfect player between Schuster and Brooks. The big man, small man, looks where he passes, doesn't look where he runs, and then together are they thinking this is a $1.6 million signing of the century?
Do you think that any team that has used the term Moneyball has ever actually won anything?
I think it hasn't actually watched the film.
Nor have I. Can you tell me all about it?
It's a film with baseball.
Jousting by the week. No, Jousting by the films. Yeah. But yeah, I heard that it was a great movie. But it's never worked. Hook Griffin was famous for moneyballing. He's never won anything.
Yeah.
Des Hasler became famous for moneyballing. He didn't win anything after he watched the movie.
Even Ricky Stewart mentioned
And how many premierships has he got that
No, it
weren't
was-
handed to him by Chris Anderson?
It was trying to, from memory, it was trying to get the players for State of Origin, trying to crack that series. No, it wouldn't have been. It couldn't have been Ricky. It must be someone else.
But
But
it was Wayne Pearce. He put him on horse and said, Bradley Clyde's going to get injured. Best player in the world. He's going to break his shoulder. See what we do without him.
they looked at it's when they signed Tim Manor. They're like, he's got the fastest play the ball of them all, and he's got the least handling errors, and this is what's going to win us the game.
And then
It
Des
didn't.
did the same with Aiden Tolman as well. All by the Moneyball numbers, Aiden Tolman was the best prop in the game. Des Hasler said, we're going to put the house on Aiden Tolman. I wonder if Aaron Woods was a Moneyball player. It's easy to forget, Joust. Aaron Woods was once a starting prop for both New South Wales and
Australia. Yeah.
So strange. A Moneyball decision. Did we actually discuss the Brooks signing? I don't think we did. For such a big signing from someone who's been at a club for so long, it just feels so meh.
Nah.
Which I think was what we said when there was talks of the Knights signing him many years ago. It was just
All right. Sure.
whatever.
Why not?
It happens.
Hey.
News is boring now. Oh, this one isn't boring though. This is spicy.
This is up to the minute.
Now this is a young upstart.
Yeah.
A young angry man. You know, they don't let young men be angry anymore. Let a young man be angry. Let him drop a couple of hard C's. As long as it's not directed at the referee. A good hard C, it can be very good for the soul.
Of course, we're talking about the Luke Walsh.
The
Luke
sexy
Walsh.
baby, Reece Walsh.
Reece Walsh.
Look at those eyes. Nobody beats him. He's the whiz. Which one was Luke Walsh? He was one of those very mediocre players of the
Knights, yeah.
mid 2000s.
Yeah, he went to Super League.
Very
Yeah,
forgettable.
Yeah,
Very
yeah.
forgettable.
It was
Well, so
when-
much so that you forgot that he was a different player to Reece Walsh just now.
And one stage, the Knights had so many halfbacks in their grips that we didn't actually know what to do with them. And then we threw them all in the air and we landed with Tyrone Roberts. We had Scott Giro.
I will
we
not
had,
hear a word against Tyrone Roberts.
we had Luke Walsh.
Half-wits, of
The
course.
half-wits, the
Thank you to the
half-wits.
buttons, man.
We all threw it in the air. It ended up with the worst possible options. But
Now, I will stand by Tyrone Roberts till the day I die because one time I was working at Central and me and my boss, Blake Moore, we used to go to the
Yeah.
Crown and Anchor after work because it was a local pub.
Yes,
you know,
it
we'd
was.
shut up the bar at midnight,
Yeah.
go to the Crown and Anchor, drink till 5 in the morning because
And he
we
was-
knew the boss.
and he was-
Tyrone Roberts happened to be sitting next to us one night while we were on the pokies. We were doing our little peasants 50-cent hits.
Yeah.
Tyrone was doing $2.80 hits beside us there and he just looked over at us and he said, "Oh, g'day, boys. How you doing?"
yeah.
We said, "We're doing good, Tyrone, mate. How about yourself?" And it was not long after he signed for the Titans, and I said, "Mate, we've loved having you here at the Knights. But it's good to see, you going up playing with your cousin James Roberts. You must be excited. Had a great little chat with Tyrone Roberts, so I like the man.
He did also
He held on to his hair for too long, though.
He did also say, Mr. Tyrone, that he said, "Oh, well, I know we'd signed Trent Hodkinson, but I'm going to fight for my halfback position." And then everyone laughed. Everyone laughed. And then he was like, "All right, I'm going to sign somewhere else." That didn't work out so well for the Newcastle Knights.
No.
That wasn't that. We probably should have held on to him. We probably should have said, stick around and fight it, because he was had to be a much, much better player than Trent Hodkinson was at that stage in his career. Reece
Another
Welch.
example of being disappointed by the Knights. See, even when we're angry at other players and disappointed in other players' behaviours, we somehow manage to bring it back to the Knights disappointing us.
We're scarred, Liam. We're so scarred.
Anyway, on this note, just to finish, we are keeping an eye on the live blog Jousters, and after half time, hopefully, we will have a punishment handed down.
Yeah. Yeah, to Reece Walsh.
Yes.
Yeah.
Luke Walsh doesn't need to be punished because no one remembers who he is anyway.
Can we just also Reece Walsh's defence there in a tweet? He said, "Yesterday, whilst I was on the field, I swore at another player. Whilst I don't promote this language to be directed at anybody, I would never direct this type of language towards a referee."
Good boy.
But sort of
Good
he
boy.
did. He sort of directed it sort of in his direction, let's be honest. He could say he directed it, but he didn't make it clear. So if you've got to swear, kids, because a lot of kids watch this show,
Yeah, of course. It's a family show.
make sure it's very clear who you're swearing at.
Just don't say too much. Sorry, Mum.
We might have to bleep that. If that's possible to bleep in an edit. The Gold Coast Titans, Liam, they're not doing too badly this season.
Which is odd.
Yeah.
Because no Gold Coast team's really ever done well. Besides the Titans in 2007, I think they had a good year.
I think
the minor premiership.
They might be preempting their season collapsing, and they thought, how do we stop this happening? It's like a crumple zone sort of effect. How do we stop the catastrophic crash? We'll just sack our coach before it happens.
To soften the blow, Yeah.
And then install someone else mid-season, despite our team, I think, now in the 8.
Yes.
Which hasn't been done since, I think, Hook Griffin got sacked when his team was coming
They were in the
fourth.
4. Yeah. It's an odd decision. And apparently, this is the funniest thing out of all this, I believe, that Mal Meninga, Gold Coast Titans head of culture, I think they call it.
Yeah.
He didn't even know about it. He went on a radio interview and they told him, he's like, oh, I don't know, I'm probably out of a job too.
Well, it's a surprise of where it came from. And I can only assume that Des was like, hey, I want to work for you guys. And they're like, all right. And then they just put him on the books. It was such a scene of no one was particularly upset, apparently, with Justin Holbrook. But then they said, we no longer want you here, goodbye. And he said, well, this is a shock to me. And it was a shock to Mal Meninga. And it wouldn't be surprised if Des Hasler said, hey, I got the job today, and it's a shock to me too.
Now, look, I'm all for it. Des is a good friend of the family. I don't know if you Jousters know this, but my father, of course, played in the North Sydney Juniors system. He was playing halfback, and it was the other way around. Des played halfback, and my father played 5'8", coming through the juniors. And they reckon Des was the worst one of the halves pairing. And I won't tell you which one was the best.
Hey,
it was Greggy.
I can put those two together. There is a question. There is something about a statistical anomaly. Also, if you sign a coach because you think, he can win us a premiership because he's won a premiership before, but there's only been 3 times that that's ever happened. That there's been a premiership winner coach that's gone to another club and won another premiership.
That was too many numbers, Nagy. You lost me.
I think it's only happened once. Tim Sheens, Wayne Bennett, and Jack Gibson, I believe,
Of course,
are the only
3
3
great men.
coaches that have won premierships at more than one club. So if you've got a coach that you're like, well, he's won a premiership and he hasn't won a premiership, it might be better to go with the guy who hasn't, because statistically he's probably got a better chance than the guy that has.
And statistics are very important in sport.
It's sort of like if you're about to jump on a plane and you really, really don't want them to be, someone carrying a bomb on that plane. The safest
Just
thing...
ask Paul Crawley what that person might look like.
The safest thing...
Is that a boombox under your Taliban robe?
The safest thing that you could do to avoid a bomb being on that plane is to bring a bomb on with you to that plane. Because statistically, the chances of there being 2 bombs on the plane...
It's like 1 in a million.
It's 1
in a million. Or 2 in a million if you bring your own bomb.
If you bring your own.
Yes. But Des Hasler also famously poor when it comes to salary cap money management. Speaking of poor financial decisions, this next article is very funny and it's good for the soul. Disgraced NRL star,
Oh yeah,
Jared Hayne,
falling star.
locked in the box of personal regrets there. He happened to have an inmate, a cellmate, who shares a bed. They share a bed, I assume. I don't know how jail works. He got fleeced for $780,000 in a Bitcoin scam.
Yeah.
He had a man on the bed next to him who was in for financial fraud.
Yep.
And he said, I'm going to give that man almost $800,000.
Yeah.
What could possibly go wrong?
When you're working with someone, let's say you've come to someone for financial advice and you have a bit of a feeling that this guy could be dodgy, and you think, I don't trust this person. Potentially, you look at the fact, is this man actually in jail right now as we are speaking? Because if he is in jail with you, potentially, this man shouldn't be trusted.
I think that's a pretty fair assessment.
It should be at least taken into consideration whether you're investing, say, I don't know, the better part of $1 million.
Keep in mind, Joust, is that we are not financial experts.
No.
Nor would you accuse us of doing so, please.
Please do
but
not.
It's a bit of, you hate to take pleasure in someone else's pain, a bit of Schadenfreude, but I think this time we can have a bit of a giggle at it.
You can take the shade and I'll take the Freud. Well,
Man just loved cocaine, did Sigmund Freud.
This is an interesting time, Liam, with Ben Hunt. He decided he doesn't want to do his job anymore, and his employer's like, sure, why not? Just stop coming to work. Go work for somebody else. What does contracts mean anymore, Liam?
Nothing, not the paper they're written on.
Ben
and
Hunt,
paper's very cheap.
He was signed by a lot of money for many years, and then they're like, guess what? You're getting older, but we still want you. We're still going to give you that lots of money to fill your pockets.
Yeah.
You're really happy here. And then one day he's like, I don't want to come here anymore.
He's
And
over it. He's just, I'm over it.
And they're like, look, why don't you go somewhere else?
Yeah.
Is that how things work in rugby league?
I think so. And I can tell you that whenever I've quit a job, which has been a couple of times, I put in my 2 weeks' notice, I don't do a second of work after that.
No, right.
I just clock off and say, oh, yeah, deal with it. I've got 2 weeks left. What are you going to do? Fire me?
If all players of a certain elk, if you will.
Nagy. An elk is a large mammal, a horned deer.
Yeah.
The Irish elk was one of the largest elk of all time and is now extinct.
If they're all horned deers, Liam, all these NRL players, horned deers, a lot of them.
Who's the moose? Oh, actually, we'll touch on the moose in the next segment.
I think Phil Gould's the moose.
No, come back to the moose.
Okay, but so if they're all deers, and then they all just say, I don't want to do the contract that you've signed me for. I'm just going to go somewhere else. And if everyone went, all right, it doesn't work. It has to be some
contract.
Sort of structure.
It's just a suggestion.
It's a suggestion.
Yeah. Should NRL contracts just be vibes?
It's a vibe thing.
Is it a vibe thing?
There's
it's
one
Marbo, it's vibed.
Well, there's one get out of contract clause. It's a get out of jail free
personal
card.
reasons.
Well, personal or homesickness, because we all know that
the homesickness is a personal reason.
It is, but also we know that if you're homesick, there's not any possible way that you could play basically what is a recreational game for a profession, because that is too much if you're a little bit homesick.
If you've got a bit of a sick tummy, I can't play rugby league. I miss a house. That's all it is. It's 4 walls and a roof. How can you miss it?
What's homesickness anyway?
Oh, I've been homesick before.
Yeah, but if you only worked like 5 days of the week, just fly back at the weekend.
And you're probably sponsored by an aircraft company. I think Boeing sponsors St. George, don't they?
You work full time from what, from February to October.
And you get the whole summer off.
Go home. Enjoy it.
Just do what Jamie Lyon did. Go tackle some pigs in your hometown.
Also,
remember he did that. I remember he was interviewing. Jamie, why are you so good at tackling? Why are you so good at defence? He's like, well, I grew up in Weewar. We used to chase pigs and tackle them.
Interesting.
So that's the best interview I've ever heard in rugby league.
Speaking of pigs of men,
no, this is the moose thing.
The
Nagy.
moose.
The moose. That's what they call Josh Maguire, the worst man to ever play rugby league,
and his career's over
in tatters. Of his own making.
Yeah,
of his own volition. What's he done, Aggie?
He's shouted something at someone.
At an opposition player.
Hard C, possibly?
No, there wasn't, apparently.
So what did he say?
I don't know. I think he called him a dingus or something. And he got a 12-week ban.
12 weeks?
Which is on top of a 7-week ban he got earlier in the year for a very similar offence. Is this the dumbest man to play rugby league, Nagy?
He could be, or he could just be very, very homesick. We don't really know.
Homesick. It's personal reasons. Daily Telegraph journalist Dean Ritchie, he's Buzz's left-handed puppet.
Yeah.
This is a truly arsehole-ish story when they were playing Prime Minister's 13 in Papua New Guinea. Dean Ritchie was on the team bus and he watched, the players, they were handing out their kit, dangling the kit, and Josh Maguire was dangling it, and then he pull it away.
Pull it up.
He'd pull it up and say, "Not you, little boy. I hate you.
Yeah.
You're a little 7-year-old who loves the sport that I'm a superstar in. You're an idiot."
Yeah.
Is basically what Josh Maguire has done his whole life.
Well, who's the idiot now? Josh Maguire?
Well, he'll probably pick up a contract
Probably with the Newcastle Knights, possibly. Yeah. It's
earning several $100,000 and still be able to be an arsehole all the time.
the only way to soften the blow, Liam, of watching the State of Origin and watching your team lose and you watch your heart sink was knowing that we're at the Hamilton Station Hotel with the great vibes.
That
the great
made
people.
it worth it. Again, we come back to the vibes thing, and there's no vibe quite like the pub. In fact, when I'm not at a pub, I get homesick.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I get
If I'm not at a pub, I get pub sick.
Pub sick.
But then, that's what I mentioned before. All a pub is 4 walls, a roof,
Yeah.
bar, bunch of pokies, and I still miss it every day.
It's a wonderful, wonderful place. We had the jugs flowing. It's a wonderful communal drink. It's like, I can see you a little bit low. Tap you up with the jug.
We had our wings and poutine. My God.
$10 jugs.
Again, from someone who's lived in the land of poutine for 2.5 years and ate poutine twice a week for 2.5 years. Phenomenal poutine. Ladies and gentlemen, get into it.
The only place to watch the final rugby league, I was going to say the final rugby league game.
Of all.
All the
Because
rugby
we're
league
shutting
games.
it down. Shutting it down. And it's all your fault, Brad Fittler.
The final State of Origin game of the series is the Hamilton Station Hotel, but also get there for every time you cannot get to the stadium, like this very week, because it's in Sydney. No one wants to go there.
Yeah.
It's far too long.
Yeah.
Hamilton Station
Build
Hotel.
a wall around Sydney and tell their people they're not welcome in Newcastle.
We're going to take a halftime break. Please join us for the second half of the Jest. Welcome back to the second half of the Joust. Now, Liam, there was another game on, outside of Origin, outside of the news.
We do just a wee quick update on the Reece Welch case.
Oh, please.
Yes,
Yeah,
no
yeah.
decision just now, but I found one of my new favourite rugby league sentences. It says here that teammates can be proclivitied to robust discussion. If that isn't the best way to say that boys will be boys, I've never heard a better description.
Boys-
robust discussion.
Boys will be boys, fellas will
Yeah.
be guys. Let
And-
them swear at each other
And
on the
friends
field.
will have robust discussions between themselves.
If you remember the ref ears that you used to be able to
yeah,
wear,
Dad had a pair of
the-
ref ears for years.
Well, you could just listen to the ref. That was all you could listen to. But it would have a warning. It'd be like, please advise that you may hear some obscene language. Which,
Swears.
Which the NRL does not promote. Or
and if you're Josh Maguire, probably some slurs.
or Phil Crawley.
Yeah.
What was his name?
No, Buzz shuts his mouth when he's about to slur. Which is funny because Buzz is always slurring because he loves his vino.
Liam, it was a game that we thought we could win. Another one.
Oh,
And they took all the players out, Penrith. They said, no, we're going to rest them all.
we'll send all our tiny little boys in. We'll send in our preschoolers. We'll
Yeah.
take them straight out of the womb. We'll send them out to play the Knights.
Yeah, that'll
and
be good.
these prehensile teens. No,
Yeah.
prepubescent, sorry. Prehensile is what our thumbs are.
Oh, yeah.
What differentiates us from monkeys. These prepubescent Penrith Panthers players.
Yeah.
They pulled our pants down.
Yeah.
All the other P words.
All the alliteration.
Yeah.
Well done there.
I love alliteration.
All the
It's
young
one of my
fellas-
favourite parts of speech.
As well as Tyrone Peachy, who
A
was
very old fellow.
surprising that he's still, moving and shaking in first grade. And it was a game that he really took control over.
Now, it was a coaching masterstroke, I think, from Ivan Cleary. He pulled Tyrone Peachy aside at the start of the game and he said, Tyrone, play football. Apparently, his previous coaches had not been telling him to play football. They just threw him out there, tucked
Yeah.
a jersey on and said, meh.
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 Go for it.
But Mr. Cleary
Yeah.
said, Tyrone, this is a game of rugby league. You should play rugby league this
rugby
time.
league.
Give it a go. See what you think. Try it on for size.
Liam, we were haunted. We were haunted by a ghost of our past.
Yes.
A player that we all mocked. We said, oh, he's
We
not
derided, we mocked, we
he's not a
chided.
first grader.
He was a baby boy.
Mr. Cogger.
Mr. Cogger.
John Cogger. But they call him Jack.
I never got. That's the weirdest nicknaming trope to me. Is that
Doesn't make sense.
People named John are nicknamed Jack. It's the same amount of letters. It's the same amount of syllables.
Yeah.
It's the exact same name.
Well, I tell you why. It's because it went through a period there where everyone was called John, that you had to come up with variations of John so that you could have to differentiate between one person and another.
Well, there you go, Jas. You got a bit of language history there. Yeah.
So Jack Cogger.
And his school for unimpressive boys. They all passed with flying colours
just-
in this exam.
Where was that? 10 years ago. Does he age? Have a
He's
look
only
at him.
10 years old.
Have a look at him there.
Oh my God, he's such a baby.
It
They
was-
didn't
it
even
was-
have high definition cameras. It was that long ago.
And then now, He's high def and he's NRL.
Isn't it funny, Nagy?
Yeah.
The amount of players that Nathan Brown ruined that have gone on to play very good football in very good systems. Jack Cogger, Nick Meaney, Josh King, for example.
Yeah.
Didn't really work out for Corey Dennis,
No, not so much.
for example.
But we're a great nursery
Yeah.
of a nursery like the plants, of bringing them up, and then you let them out into the wild. and
See,
they-
the thing about a nursery
Yeah.
is they don't teach you mathematics
of course.
because you're only babies.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was that in reference to?
I was trying to make a point that in a nursery, you're only educated on how to finger paint, and basically you're a baby.
Yes, of course.
Yeah.
Well, that's true. You are, basically. Yeah.
essentially
yeah.
a baby, which is what Jack Cogger was in his Newcastle Knights days, but now he's a man.
And now he's a man.
He's blossomed.
He took us to town.
Look at that smile. That's a nice smile.
That's always a smile of a winner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like him again. That smile's won me over.
Bring back Jack Cogger. Liam, it was a disappointing game. Obviously, we saw the Penrith Panthers really control the game. They controlled the game for 60 minutes. They barely made an error.
They did what Penrith do best. They smothered.
Smothered.
They took a blanket, they put it over us, and then they tucked us in too tight so you can't get out. And they like that a bit.
Shh.
Pillows over the face.
Pillows over the face.
I couldn't tell you the amount of times where they received the ball 5 metres out of their line, 10 metres out of the line. By the end of the set, they're on the Newcastle Knights 10-metre line.
Yeah.
They just kept doing it.
100 plus meters.
They had the Moses Leotas. They
Yeah.
had the Spencer Lenyus about them.
Of course.
They had Jamin Salmon doing things that he shouldn't be allowed to do.
100 plus. All 100 plus meters.
Now, I think, Nagy, if you were to look at the stats sheet that we have here in front of you, you would look at that and you would say, boy, I bet the Newcastle Knights got beaten by 50 points.
Yeah.
Which, you know, when you got to take the little wins, the fact that we only lost 8 points in our differential, not too bad.
That's something to take away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because we need to take away something.
Something.
Please, sporting teams that we like, give us something.
If we're looking at players that we thought, in a losing side did all right, Liam, who is your hats off for this week?
I'm going to add Dominic Young.
Yeah.
Dominic Young, a real weapon on the wing. Good in his yardage work. Great pass for the Kalen Ponga try, which I'll come back to in the pastry-related segment. Again, best of a bad bunch. He was pretty good. He was fine.
Good pass also for the Tyrone Peachy try.
True. Maybe I'll change my hat. Here's this one, Jousters.
For me, Greg Magier, the fellow out in the wing.
bus.
The bus.
Yeah. He made the bus.
He made the bus, and he ran for over 200 metres. Incredible effort.
They made him drive the bus. That's your punishment. If you miss the bus one week, you have to drive the bus the next week. And I don't know if you've ever driven a bus, Jousters, because I certainly haven't, but they're very big.
They're very big.
It's hard to get around corners because you're so big.
And you're always looking back going, will you shut up back there?
Yeah. There's always hooligans on the bus.
Hooligans on the bus, yeah.
Especially in Newcastle.
For when we take our hats off, Liam, we have to put one back on.
Jack Hetherington, that was the worst slap I've ever seen. Now, we all know this, Jousters.
The Red
We
Mist.
know that the Red Mist was raised in Belmont. We know that the Red Mist was raised by hard men like Bill Mullins and Jason Hetherington.
All those
He knows how to
things.
throw cups. He can throw mugs. But instead what he did was offer the worst slap I think I've ever seen to another man. It was almost like a disrespectful slap where I disrespect you.
Bang. Yeah, like he was trying to
Except he disrespected himself.
challenge
by
him to
doing
a duel.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Oh, that's it. All he needed was a white glove.
Bang. It was just, but it was just so public. It's like he forgot that this game was on television. It's someone to remind him that there's cameras everywhere.
And it's live too.
If you're going to slap someone, slap them in secret.
You
I've
can't
always
cut
said
out
that.
a slap in post if it's live television. You just can't do it. Who's your hats back on, Nagy?
Dang the guy.
Which is such a shame. 6 errors, Dane.
6 errors.
That's a lot of errors.
Tyrone Peachy is now his father, I
Daddy
believe.
Tyrone.
Yeah. He made him his child.
Which is a shame because I believe they're the same age.
It's very
Where's
very
the
upsetting.
science on that? How does that work out, Jousters? I'm no doctor.
It's very upsetting. It was very upsetting to see the Newcastle Knights go down to a team that we really should have beaten and potentially could end up in our very own coach no longer coaching us, which we'll get to at the back end of the show. Now, Liam, you love cows minced into food.
I do, and I love flour liquefied with the brown bits from the cow food.
There might also be some horses in there. Who knows? It's
And then
undescribable
a
meat.
beautiful all butter flaky pastry. Now this one, Joust, is a very special one for you this week because I had 2 pies, which ironically is the same amount of tries the Newcastle Knights scored. Now, Brittany and I, my lovely wife, we got home the other day.
Yeah.
And Brittany said, Liam, someone left some pies here at the house.
Hello.
And I said, who left the pies? She said, I don't know, some woman. And apparently,
It's just you finally scooping up all our sponsorship pies.
it's
Liam.
finally happened. We have random women just leaving pies on our stoop.
Yeah.
But what had happened is my dear mother, of course, knows how much I love meat pies. So
Yes.
she went to a fundraiser. She saw a 6-pack of meat pies and a 4-pack of potato pies. She bid it on it and she won them.
Oh,
she
she
said,
won them.
Liam, you can eat all the pies. So anyway,
Wonderful.
my first pie. This was a very, classical, non-flashy meat pie, just your classic meat gravy.
Yeah.
Pastry.
course.
And I'd liken that to the Jackson Hastings try.
Yeah.
It was nothing fancy.
No.
It was a good dummy in a step, yes, but it had all the classic elements of a try in that he put the ball down on the other side of the goal line.
Very first try.
My second pie, on the other hand, was a potato pie.
Yeah.
Now, some would say a shepherd's pie. I would disagree.
Cottage, possibly?
Cottage pie. Now, yes, of course, the shepherd's pie is made of lamb because the sheep is for the shepherds.
Yes.
And the cottage is made of cow.
Yeah. Science.
That'd be a
Justice.
terrible cottage. It'd just fall down. Yeah. Plus, if it's sunny, your cottage is going to cook, and then you just live in a house made of cooked ground beef.
Yeah.
But anyway, the second pie, it was a bit more flashy.
Of course.
It was a bit heavy on the potato, which I think was Dom Young's pass over the top. I thought, that's too heavy
On the potato.
on the potato. But it wasn't. It ended up blending beautifully with the phenomenal meat filling that is Kalen Ponga. So 2 pies for 2 tries this week, both very enjoyable. And to the random woman who left them at my door, if you're listening,
Yeah.
I love you. Thank you.
Caleb Pong coming through with the try, doing also the reverse lock.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Again,
it's really
masterstroke from Adam O'Brien. Masterstroke. To put that, highly acclaimed 5/8 back to fullback. You couldn't pick it.
I don't
Couldn't make it up.
I don't know how he looked at that 5/8 and thought he would be a bloody good fullback.
Yeah.
Paying dividends. It's the best thing that Adam O'Brien has ever done.
In his whole entire career.
And he has a chance to hold on to his job for one more week against the Bulldogs. And now this is always a game towards this end of the season against the Bulldogs when we're above them on the ladder, which we are this time, even though it's barely, and we think we're favourites. We always lose.
Always. Remember, and I think it goes all the way back to the Lamb Shank.
Yeah.
Remember the Lamb Shank?
Yep.
We were at the Annie Dome, former home of the Joust.
Yeah.
And we were watching that game. I think it was the last play of the game.
Yep.
It was a penalty goal, 40 metres out.
It was.
Trent Hodkinson said to a young baby Brock Lamb,
Yeah.
he said, Brock, another one of Nathan Brown's charges who has, he's really kicked on. He's
Yeah.
playing for the Maitland Pumpkin Pickers in the real NRL.
Doing a great
and
job.
firing.
Yeah.
So anyway, Hodko hands over the tee. He says, listen, you little baby boy. You need to kick this penalty with the game on the line with 0 seconds to go.
Yeah.
It's something that every baby boy dreams of when they watch rugby league. And he biffed it really badly. And I think that was where it started.
It did feel like that, yeah.
The Bulldogs always beat the Knights when they're below us on the ladder, and I think that's where it started.
I think it's where it started, and it was, and we even continued on to the game where we lost Slade Griffin, where he completely blew his knee out.
He
and
blew everything in his knee.
every bits and pieces
I forgot
holding
that
his
was
knee
about the
together.
Bulldogs.
Now we also lost Kalen Pong in that game through a hamstring injury. It was, I think there's something.
Should we murder the Bulldogs?
And also that game in 2020, we should murder the Bulldogs in 2020 in that rainy game. Remember the worst game in NRL history.
I don't remember it. What, you always ask me if I remember things.
No, you don't know.
I never do.
It's one with our good friend Carlo over there at Bay 60,
Oh, the rainy day
Bay
photo.
53.
Oh,
With
yes,
the
Bay
rainy day-
53, boys. I remember that photo well. I still think about it every time the Knights lose, so it's burned in my memory.
Again, it's the
Burned in there.
Bulldogs game at this end of the season. And so hopefully that we can break that hoodoo-ish thing and beat them this week.
At their own game.
Let's have a look at the lineup, Liam.
Now, Anari Tuala. You have some thoughts on him, Nagy?
Well, he's just very okay, isn't he?
He is exemplary at being okay.
Yeah, he's very. It's like when they say that the most mediocre player would have to be an Tuala of the Newcastle Knights.
For sure.
Yeah.
He does some things well. He's beloved. He's one of those players who's beloved by coaches. And I love that he's sticking with the Fu Manchu facial hair, which I think that's a real big dick move. I like the Fu Manchu facial hair.
Yeah.
Why have we got stiff breeze written on the screen there, Nagy?
Well, he's had some defensive errors. He's not a big man by NRL standards.
No, he's quite small.
Yeah, and he was put out in the wing a few weeks ago, and obviously he's in for Gags now at centre. Obviously, Dan Gagai has proven himself to be quite the player on his day. Had a terrible game last week, but as a replacement with an Tuala, I just don't know if that's going to inspire some confidence.
It's not a like-for-like replacement. I don't think Anari will mind me saying that. I think if you said, hey, Anari, he was good as Dane Gagai, he'd probably say yes.
On the wing, he did
But
score.
he'd be wrong.
He scored that hat-trick in that finals game against the Eels that we lost.
Well, that's no good then.
No.
That doesn't help anyone.
That was a hat trick. It's nice.
Yeah.
We welcome back Lockie Fitzgibbon to the side. We've got the Fitz and Frizz combination
Yes.
on the back row.
Get your cheap suit, get your haircut with the Fitz and the Frizz. Now, Nagy, I said this before the show.
Yeah.
I said, do you Lockie Fitzgibbon's back?
Yeah.
Is that good?
I don't know
See,
anymore.
I don't know either.
Yeah.
I can't remember.
He was scoring
It feels
tries.
like it's been so off and on. I can't remember if Lockie Fitzgibbon's good or not.
Potentially, I don't know. Potentially, we might see a bit of Kalen Pong and Lockie Fitzgibbon combination. I know, loving that short ball, running those hard lines.
That's it. If we can get that Lockie Fitzgibbon outline
Yeah.
on the left there, where he, he hits the line, he changes direction just as he receives the ball.
comes
That
in,
he was
yeah.
so good at in his first year, and then forgot how to do it.
Got to do it. Hopefully, he remembers how to do it. Hopefully. What happened to Lockie Miller? He's gone.
He has been forgotten about. My God, what's happened to him? He was
knows?
playing in the Reggies, playing that kind of hybrid 9 role. That,
He's playing 5/8 as well now. Adam Clune also kicked a field goal to win against the reserve grade Panthers, but
Oh, that's a good thing. But the
except
Knights were
we're
also
playing the
against-
reserve grade
yeah.
Panthers.
So it was the reserve grade
Panthers. Yeah.
Which Jousters that know Nagy and I well would know that we were absolute superstars in the reserve grade for Wanderers over our time there.
Yeah.
Sometimes even the reserve grade.
Oh, that's when you really saw
That's
some
where we
fire.
shone.
Oh, yeah.
Doing Stone's green ginger wine shots in the sheds at full time.
Hey-o.
That's where we shone.
A question got put out to you, Jousters, and said, "What is this the last straw for AOB?"
Great responses, by the way, Jousters. We were overjoyed to see the interactions there with all you fans jumping on board. It's a community segment. This segment.
AOB seems to be on his last wits. Michaels and the Steves with the Newcastle Knights. And he's like, would we see another coach coaching the Newcastle Knights in the near future? I threw up possibly Justin Holbrook. And
Do you like Justin Holbrook?
Yeah.
And the more you talk about it,
Yeah.
the more I'm being won over.
And we received some responses from our very own Jousters.
Yeah. John O. James up the top there. Knight's been through a dozen coaches. At what point do you blame the blokes playing every week? We have been through that many coaches.
We have been.
And at what point do you blame the blokes?
Well, the different coaches come with different players. So we can blame different loads of blokes with different coaches as a combination. But yeah.
The coach is also a bloke.
Yes, that's true. Have we considered a female
So
coach?
by blaming a bloke,
Yeah.
do you blame the blokes or the bloke?
One of the suggestions that was also put up was, speaking of the females, is
Yes.
getting the women's coach, Mr. Ronnie Griffiths.
Ronnie Griffiths, great rugby league name.
I think
Very good rugby
Well, I
league
think
name.
if we sacked Adam O'Brien tomorrow, bring in Ronnie. I'd say.
Yeah, I like Ronnie Griffiths.
Yeah.
Liam Bones Jones there. Interesting, very stern. He's got to go. Nathan Brown did more for this club than O'Brien, and he has had a much better roster. Now, the Nathan Brown thing, Bonesy, I'm glad you brought that up, because you'll remember many, many years ago, those of you Jousters have been with us for a long time, again, we appreciate your patronage over all these years.
Yeah.
We were on the Brown bandwagon until the day he left, remember? I think we even had a hashtag.
Hashtag save Brownie.
Save Brownie. And boy, didn't that work wonderfully for us.
Yeah.
So I would take everything we say in this coaching thing with a grain of salt there.
Yeah.
As we see Nathan Brown looking a bit frumpy.
Frumpy. Yeah,
Frumpy
yeah,
fella.
Yeah. He's coming on the screen now.
Yeah, coming up on the screen now, Mr. Frump. Yeah.
This is all
That's such a sad looking man.
It's all photos. It's all
Oh, he's just an unfortunate
He
looking
didn't
man.
inspire a lot of confidence then.
No.
He probably doesn't inspire a lot of confidence now. But there was also a lot of comments towards saying, Nagy, not Justin Holbrook. We want Michael Maguire.
I did see someone there commented Will Mason, which I'm assuming is Willie Mason, which that's not good.
That can't be good.
That's bottom of the barrel type stuff. Seamus Kelly, you jokester.
Yeah.
Making jokes, making us
Classic.
giggle, Seamus.
Yeah,
We
yeah.
won't even say what Seamus said. He just made us giggle too
Yeah,
much.
it's funny. What are your thoughts on Michael Maguire, Liam?
Now, Michael Maguire is an interesting one. What I see from Michael Maguire over his tenure is similar to what you've seen from Michael Checker in his time coaching in rugby union.
Oh, not winning.
No, winning in the first year or 2 years
Yeah.
because he brings so much intensity. He loves a good blow up. He'll blow up at the team, which works great for a year or two.
Yeah.
Michael Maguire famously won the premiership in 2014. By 2016, they were over him. They said,
Yeah.
we're sick of you yelling.
Stop
You just yell
yelling
so
all the
much.
time.
And that was a similar thing with Checky, the first few years.
Yeah.
Leinster, he won a bunch,
Yeah.
but then it all went to hell. Waratahs won, all went to hell.
Yeah.
Wallabies got him to the World Cup final, all went to hell because of the yelling. Argentina, doing very well under him, all went to hell because of the yelling.
We'll have to see what happens with the Newcastle Knights, and also stop yelling is a criticism that I
Yeah.
get on this show.
Another one that we saw pop up, Andrew Johns. Not sure how I feel about that. Andrew Johns has such an odd track record. He coaches halves, but the halves he coaches never win.
Andrew Johns coaching the Newcastle Knights is the high-speed railway that's going to take us from Newcastle to Sydney in a matter of 20 minutes. It gets spoken about every year, but it will never happen in our lifetimes. Thank you for joining us for the Joust this week, guys. It's been a pleasure. If you like us, please like us on SoundCloud and all the other social pipes, YouTube, Spotify, Facebook, Instagram.
Are we on Apple Podcasts?
And we are on the Apples as well.
Yes, I've always said I love Bill Gates.
Thank you for joining us next week. Hopefully we'll come back and talk about a wonderful win against the Bulldogs, and we'll hope to see you there. Thank you very much.